welcome back to the Team Empire podcast. I'm your host, Shannon. Don't you worry, we're going to get straight into today's episode, but quickly, I just really wanted to announce some exciting news. I have partnered up with Buy Me a Coffee, which is a service where you can contribute even the smallest amount at $5 increments to sponsor the pod. This podcast is almost 2 years old and it's just been amazing to do, so it was time to level up. So by making a contribution with Buy Me a Coffee, I will be putting all of those profits into the podcast and making sure that I am improving my quality of my podcast services, maybe even including a studio. And if I need to travel to reach more high profile guests for the podcast, I will be able to do all of those things. It all goes back into the podcast in multiple different ways. And if you are a contributor to Buy Me a Coffee for Team Empire Podcast, you'll be added to our close friends group on Instagram, which is where I'll be sharing a lot of content that will not be released until a later date to the public, including upcoming episodes, live streams of shows and events, and little clips of what our pro athletes are doing. So by making your contribution, you'll be joining the Team Empire Podcast Club on Instagram and our close friends, and we really appreciate every single contribution. And we also appreciate just anybody who listens, likes, subscribes, gets involved, comments, any kind of support. We see it all and I appreciate it so much. If you can't make a contribution, it's absolutely fine. If you can, this link will be available in the description, also in all of the info and bio for the podcast. And if you do buy me a coffee, I appreciate it so much, and I'm looking forward to improving the quality of this podcast over the coming months. And thank you so much for all of your support. Okay, into the episode. Hey everyone, I have an amazing guest on the pod today. Third time I have had her on, and we've been through a whole journey. So before the USA shows, and then now that she's come back, after Sean Ray's as well. So we've got the whole journey, but we're going to talk all about it today. We've got a lot to unpack, so I'm just going to get straight into it. We have Kate Carroll on the pod. Hey Kate, how are you?
Thank you so much for having me back on. I feel like I'm starting to get maybe like a little bit less nervous about coming on the podcast now. It's been like a couple of times.
I know, I love it. And you've been doing other pods and stuff. You've been really out there and like talking on your Instagram with live streams and stuff. Are you finding yourself getting a little bit more confident with it as you go?
A little bit. I think I just think it's important to kind of like share more, and people want to hear it, and I always get really good feedback. So I'm kind of trying to put myself out there a little bit more.
I love it. You're doing great, babe. We've got so much to chat about. There's lots going on, especially like in bodybuilding in general. But first of all, congratulations on your win. So congratulations on the whole tour. Like the whole thing was just amazing. I'm sure a lot of people listening would have seen the videos I posted and what you've posted and just the whole journey. So a lot of people have had your back and supported you that whole way through. So it was really cool to see you get that win, take it out and just beat Ash. That was a great achievement. So congrats, babe, on behalf of like literally the whole country. We are so proud of you. How are you feeling? Have you come down off the high? Are you still riding the wave? Like how are you feeling about it all now?
Yeah, thank you so much for the support, and like to everybody as well. Like I really did feel like I had a whole country backing me. Like I really felt the love and all the support. So I'm super grateful. So just thank you so much, and thanks to everybody who has been so supportive. I'm still riding the high, to be honest. Like I think it's starting to feel real now that I've signed my Olympia contract, and now we're like 7 weeks out. So yeah, it's starting to feel real now. And also I started like proper prep this week as well. So it's kind of good, just to get into it and really feel like I'm on my way there now.
Yeah, I love it. Starting the journey. We're going to talk about it, like your feedback that you got, how you're working towards all of that in there as well. But before we do that, you've got your O qualification, and now Jasmine's got her O qualification, the first wellness ever for New Zealand. And I think it's the first time we've had, I don't know if we've had two different divisions over Olympia. There's a whole lot of like records that she's just set and you both together. And I know you're both friends as well. So how did you feel? Were you so stoked for her? It was her last show of her tour as well. There was just so many similarities. How do you feel about Jazz's win?
Oh man, I feel so stoked for her. Like I knew it was coming. I knew she was going to do it. And yeah, just to have her qualified as well, man, it's going to be so awesome to share the whole experience together. And just like in the lead up as well, like we're going to do some training sessions together, like we have been kind of for the last maybe like 6 or so months, and just really like push each other, and because we both understand, what it's like, and we both got that same goal. So it was just really cool to push each other and share the experience over there as well.
Yeah, so cool, babe. And I'm hopefully going to get Jazz on. I know she's super busy, and obviously she's going to Olympian now too. So, but I'll get her on just for anyone listening. And there was a lot going on. She got engaged. She had her birthday. So many things while she was in the States. So I'll unpack that with her in another episode. But we had to acknowledge just that achievement because it's so huge, and it's the first pod since that's happened. So well done to both of you. It's going to be fun to watch you both over there together. Hopefully, you guys will get a little bit of content, maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, we'll do our best.
It's hard, I know, but like we love to see it, of course. How did it, okay, we're just going to go back to it for a second. How did it feel in that moment? Because I was watching the live stream, I was trying to screen record everything I could possibly find, and you just like fell to the floor as soon as they announced Ash K was second, and it was just such a cool moment, man. Did you believe it? Were you like, hold on a minute, what happened in that moment when you heard it?
Yeah, it was a crazy moment. Like as soon as they called Ashley for second, I knew what that had meant, and it was just so many like overwhelming feelings. And even now, like I get a bit emotional like talking about it and thinking about it, because it's just such a rush, and just all of those feelings of, you know, like everything you've been working together towards for such a long time, and just like your dream coming true in that exact moment. And yeah, it was very overwhelming and just incredible. Yeah, it's hard to find the words to describe it, but I was over the moon, absolutely over the moon. And you know, it was my last chance, my last shot to qualify, being my last show. So yeah, it was just like a, oh my gosh, I've made it kind of moment.
That, babe. So cool, and it's just so well deserved. Everyone's just like just appreciated your physique and how hard you worked for so long. It's just so cool to see you get that and take Ash as well, because that was a battle and a half, so it was really fun. And there was a moment backstage with you and Frank that someone, thank God they captured that, because that was such a beautiful moment. And I know that this is so much as it is like Kate's going to Olympia, it's Kate and Frank, and like it's a 2-in-1 deal. You guys are just a little package, and you wouldn't be with who each other is without each other, kind of thing. So what was it to do that with your husband and your coach, and just like, was it just a sweet moment to come backstage and be like, we did that?
Yeah, even just like thinking about it now, I'm getting emotional. Yeah, I mean, Frank, he supports me like a crazy amount, you know, in every single way in my whole life, you know, as my husband, as my coach. And it was, yeah, it's as much him as it is me. And I even say like it's more him than it is me, because all I do is follow the plan. You know, he's the one who sets the plan, who is the brains behind everything. So I really do have the easy job. And I just felt, yeah, it was just incredible. It's hard to find the words, but yeah, super grateful to Adam, who filmed that moment of when we first saw each other when I got off stage. Yeah, it was just really special to do it together.
Love that, babe. It's so cool. It's such a nice moment, and anyone who knows you both just knows how well deserved and how much you'd appreciate that as well. And I cried. I think most people cried watching not only the video of you and Frank, but like you winning, and like the amount of times I was like, why am I crying? This is I'm not even there. But it's just like so emotional to see all of that hard work pay off. So it's just really cool, babe. On a different note, what did you eat after that show? Was there anything that you were like, I want to try this while I'm in the States? Or like, did you just go to Cheesecake Factory like Hawaii? What did you guys do after the show?
It was late. It was like, by the time we left that show, it was like 11 p.m. because finals was like meant to be 7 p.m. I think, and then it was a little bit later, and then you know, the expo was still going on afterwards, and so obviously I come off stage and we had all our photos and our moments and everything, and chit-chatting with everybody, taking some photos and stuff. And then the first thing I actually ate was at the expo, and it's really random. They just had flavored egg whites. And I was like, I'm going straight for some of those just to like get some protein in. And then after the show, after we left, we just went to like a fried chicken place. It was kind of average, to be honest, and it was so late that we just kind of needed to get something in. But I had pre-ordered some cookies and brownies just online, and Frank had gone and picked them up between pre-judging and finals. So when we got home from the restaurant, we just tucked into some of those when we were kind of doing the live with everyone and eating the cookies. So that was
Nice. And I think I've got that in one of the videos is like you chowing down on a brownie, answering some questions, and you're so happy. And it's just like, it's just so cool to watch. And I'm sure you just really enjoyed any kind of food after that just to celebrate. But there was another couple of days after you won before you come home, I think, wasn't there? What did you guys do within that time frame after you were celebrating? Now you can relax a little bit, but did you have some fun and do some other stuff?
Yeah, everything was quite rushed really because we only had one full day and then we were coming back. So we did a little bit of like looking around and a little bit of eating, but most of it was just like getting everything organized and to come home really.
Yeah, it's super quick. It just goes like that. It's just you gotta embrace the moment while you're there. Is there like do you feel like you've reached or like unlocked a new level? Do you feel like you've changed at all? Do you think it's done anything to you as an athlete by winning and getting to the Olympic qualification, getting to Olympia?
Yeah, I think it's like my self-belief is growing and like, I'm developing my mindset more to believe that I am capable, that I'm really good at this and I can take it really, really far. So I think definitely in that sense, but at the same time, just like remaining humble and like knowing that like this is just the start, like this is just the start of unlocking that next level, and really, really being up there with the best of the best and seeing, how far I can take it and what I can achieve. So in a way, it's kind of like when you get your pro card and you feel like you're starting at the bottom of the heap again. And then just like, building your mindset up to think, I am worthy of now doing well at the Olympia, and just going away and working on my feedback and just wanting to bring my best package to the big,
big stage. It's so exciting. I can't wait, babe. We'll come back to that and like your win and stuff like that as we go. We've got some questions from Instagram and stuff like that too. But our New Zealand season started as well. So we're going to dive into a little bit of that. There's like I said, so much going on. We've had TOC last weekend. So I know people might be listening a bit later, but it was last sort of weekend. Awesome show, a game worthy victory takeover because it's Palmy and it's just like a good little hub for you guys as well. And the team likes to go to that show. It's a big one. Obviously, Adidas took out bikini. You had a whole bunch of different athletes in that show. You were guest posing, which is exciting. So how was TOC? How was the show? Obviously, I wasn't there this year, but you guys got to experience the whole thing. What was it like guest posing? Tell us all about it.
Yeah, Tournament of Champs is always an awesome show. So it was really cool to be there and to guest pose at the show. And with their victory, team did really, really well. Obviously, Adita winning the bikini overall, and then we also had Dominique taking out the wellness overall. So really, really, really happy with the result there. And it was really cool to guest pose as well, like getting to be in my bikini and be backstage with the girls as well. And of course, I had fun on stage, getting to wear my new bikini on stage as well. So it was really cool.
I love it. It's such a fun show, and it's just nice to have how much effort Shane puts in. You can see it. Like you can see it from the crowns and stuff. Like Adidas, like a crown and a medal. Like it's great. It's like a pro show. So it was just really cool. And if anyone can get down there and watch those shows and the regionals, like the little regionals, I feel like little regionals, but they're not. As soon as you get there, it's huge. Make sure you guys all buy tickets and just go pump it because it's going to keep getting better and better this season, just like it always does, doesn't it? The shows just continue to get bigger, and make sure you guys get some tickets and go watch. So talk about training for a second with you. So you had a little bit of feedback from your shows, all three of them, some from Tyler, and it was just really cool to be able to get some solid, awesome feedback. So there was a little bit on the glutes, wasn't there? Tell us about your feedback and then currently what you're doing in your training to maybe achieve that.
Yeah, so the feedback was awesome. What happens is like you do the show and then straight away after the show, the judges are backstage, particularly like the head judge, and they're right there giving you the feedback like as soon as the show is done. So you kind of wait in line and you get your feedback and then take it away and work on it between the next show. So my feedback was really consistent. It was exactly the same for every single show. And that was to grow my glutes, particularly the upper glute. So at first when I heard that, I was a little bit disheartened because when I had gone to the Sean Ray Hawaiian Classic in November last year, I was told, you're a good size, basically just come a little bit tighter, but just keep the same size. So after the first show, hearing that, I was like, oh no, we've gone all the way to this date, and now my feedback is that I need to grow. But it was really incredible what we were able to do between shows to kind of not so much grow, but give that appearance of bigger glutes. So yeah, each week we just took that same feedback and just like Frank adjusted things, and we were able to keep improving. And looking like I had kind of grown my glutes in the space of a week. But since then, just coming home and obviously like coming out of prep and building my calories up a little bit more. And Frank just structured my training. So I've got 3 lower body days and then 1 upper body day, because we were told that the upper body is good. It's a good size, so I don't need to grow. So it's more just maintaining the size there. And then, growing the glutes. So 3 lower body days, just like lots of glute bridges, hip thrusts, abduction work, RDLs, leg press, lunges, reverse hyperextensions, kind of all of those good things in there. And so, I think it's going well. I think that we've definitely managed to put on some size. Frank's happy, so that's the main thing. And I guess, we'll see how it all looks when I'm on the Olympia stage and when I'm leaner again,
It's so bad. I love that. And do you like training glutes? Is it fun for you to like build your like I remember you saying in the live stream, like, I'm excited to come home and build glutes. Is it a fun thing for you to try and like fill in the gaps,
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, it's always good to have something to work on, right? You don't want to go away and then say, no, you're perfect the way you are, and you're like, oh, okay, what do I do now? So it was really cool to come away with something to work on, just to look at it in a different light.
So how do you and Frank just do photos, or do you measure your glutes as well? Like, is it just more of a visual thing that he goes by, or how do you guys track your progress?
Yeah, it's definitely more visual. So I just do my check-ins with him, like in person. So he can kind of see everything that's going on. Yeah, that's the way we track it. We don't do any measurements or anything like that, because I guess it's just how it looks, right? So it doesn't matter what the measurement is, it's how it looks, the full package.
Sure. And you know what's happening. Like, he's so educated on this. I mean, it's just a look and it's like, perfect. We're on the right track. And on the note of on the note of training, how much are you doing cardio at the moment? And if you are, how much are you doing, or will you introduce that soon? Like, how's your cardio going at the moment?
Yeah, so I'm doing cardio. I'm doing 12 minutes on the bike post-workout on training days, and then on rest days I'm doing 25 minutes on the bike. So definitely like low cardio for now. At 7 weeks out, I'm ready to like crank it up, but I know that it'll happen when the time is right. And Frank will put my cardio up. I'm really hoping for some stepper, When I get on the stepper, I feel like I'm in prep. So I can't wait until he adds some of that in. I'm ask him at the moment.
You're like, when? I'm ready to do it. And it definitely does feel like prep, doesn't it? But I mean, it must mean that you're tracking pretty good. If you're not having too much cardio now, you must be like looking pretty much on track, and I'm sure he'll ramp that up if it needs to. But I can't wait to see the finished package. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you. Thing is that there wasn't a huge amount of time for an off season, so I didn't go and gain a crazy amount of weight, or I haven't been on a crazy amount of food in the short space of time that I've had. So I've stayed pretty kind of close to stage conditions. So I guess we've got a lot of room to move, and nothing crazy just yet.
Nice. I like that, though. That's good. That means that you're ready to go. She's ready to pull the trigger. And I mean, it's Olympia, so you're not going to like slip up or anything like that, or like throw in the towel. Oh my God, imagine. But do you have like off-plan meals, like they keep you they keep you going, like, or do you not really care about that? You're just on all the time?
Yeah, I don't care about it. To be fair, like it used to be a big thing for me. Like when I first started my journey, I was like, oh, cheat meal, okay, or off-plan meal, I would look forward to it, and I would kind of use it to keep me on track during the week, knowing that I had that off meal on a Saturday or whatever. But going into the last couple of preps, I've just been like, no, I don't even want to go there. It kind of, just mentally feels better to know that I'm doing everything, that I don't need it. And I guess that's kind of what you were talking about before. It's the different levels of like progression throughout my bodybuilding journey, and it's just the way that I prefer to do it now. So I mean, up until we definitely did have like a few meals off, and we went out on a couple of dinner dates and stuff like that, but just over the last couple of weeks all of that has stopped now. So just keep it on plan.
Yeah, I love it. Good one, babe. I can imagine I would feel the same. You just don't need it. If you're allowed extra carbs, that's great. Just stick to plan, or just makes you feel good, like you're covering all bases. So we, like I said, we're coming into our season, New Zealand season for IFBB. We've got a lot of shows coming up. Everyone that doesn't know, go check out the calendar because there's lots coming. And you and Frank are going to be so busy because you've also got Olympia in there too. It's crazy. So how are you guys navigating the season? Frank's got tons of clients. You've got tons of clients for posing. And then obviously you've got to prep for it. Are you just kind of like, we've got this, we're just going to be as organized as possible? Like, how do you navigate that if any kind of plan?
Yeah, gosh, it's definitely a busy season. There's a lot going on. And of course, like I also work like my full-time nursing job as well. So up until kind of this point, I have been, yeah, very, very busy and very, you know, giving with my time and everything like that. But I think moving forward from this point, I have put out a little bit less availability for my posing girls, because I really need to like zone it into myself now and focus on myself. But at the same time, it's really difficult because I don't want to let anybody down. And you know, I'm always trying to like fit extra lessons in for the girls who need it. But it's just trying to find that balance, because yeah, my nursing job is like does take a lot from me, especially like, man, I had a really hard week last week where I worked a 65-hour week during the week at my nursing job, including a Saturday, and then I had my posing girls on the Sunday. And yeah, I'm going to be making a big effort to not do that again this prep, because yeah, it was a real struggle to get through that week, and I didn't feel like I was able to give everything, you know, at 8 weeks out from the Olympia that I wanted to. So kind of done like a bit of prioritizing in the last week of, you know, getting my daily routine down. I've started journaling every day again, which has been making me feel really, really good. Starting the day with that, and like my Bible app as well, which really makes me feel good. And then yeah, so I guess it's just now it's coming down to that crunch time. So I'm really trying to put more time into myself and into my prep. Yeah, and I think Frank's doing pretty well. He doesn't get too stressed about anything. He seems to manage things quite well. Yeah, so I think we're doing okay. We are obviously going to miss a couple of the shows while we're away at the Olympia, because we're going to be leaving on September the 26th, which is actually the Thursday before the South Island show. We had originally planned to go down to that show, which I was really excited for actually, because I have never been to the South Island show. But the flights were actually so much cheaper to fly out on the Thursday rather than like the Monday following. So we're heading over to Texas for a couple of weeks first, to kind of finish my prep there before we head to Vegas.
Nice. I love that. So are you doing that so that you get like I don't even know what the word is, but like to the time zones and like acclimatized and stuff? Are you doing it so that you're just like a bit more settled? Is that why you go a bit early?
Yeah, I think so. And like we had a really good time in Texas when we went there, on the last tour. So, and we met a lot of amazing people as well who we're now friends with. So we're actually going to stay with a couple of the friends that we met the first time around, which will be really cool. And yeah, I guess just to be able to go over and get that big flight out of the way early, and then just kind of like focus coming into the Olympia, get used to the heat, and then just fly from Texas to Vegas, which I think is like a 2 or 3 hour flight. So it shouldn't be too bad.
That's pretty easy, isn't it? And Texas is so cool, man. If I was going to move to the States, it would be Texas. Like 100%. I feel like it's so underrated, but there's such a good bodybuilding hub there. There's like all the cool gyms, like Alpha Land's there, like all of the cool places. It's just like fun, you know? So I love that. I can't wait to see like just little bits of your story and what you guys get up to and the gyms you go to, because they're all crazy. We all love them. But going back to your job, you were just speaking about your job and how you're a nurse, and it's hectic. Your job is so busy. You're always working long hours. But I want to dive into a little part of what you do. If you guys listened to our first episode with Kate on a long time ago, 2022, I think it was March, you were talking about how you like to do is it rhinoplasty, the nose job where you break the nose? And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
But there's so much more to your job, and I know that part of that is breast augmentations is in there as well, and that's part of what, like, you see a lot with bodybuilders and bikini athletes and wellness athletes. And I just wanted to touch on this topic since I've got you here, and you obviously know a lot about it. But first of all, I think I might have even asked this to you in the first episode that we did together, but I'm going to ask you again because obviously we've got a lot of new followers. But you still see a lot of bikini athletes with breast augs, but the reason is because when you lose so much body fat, the boobs just go nowhere, like me, like go down, probably, if anything. So, I can talk from experience now, but that's why you might see a lot of women get them, but also for shape. But my question for you is, are they needed, or do you think that they are something that everyone should consider, or what do you think about that sort of thing? Like, do they make your physique what it is, or, that kind of perspective?
Yeah, so I guess just like for anybody who doesn't know, I'm a registered nurse and I work in a private plastic surgery clinic. So I'm not a doctor. So any kind of like, I say like I'm not a doctor, but I have done it for a very long time. So breast augmentation, I think it's not needed. First of all, it's not a necessity. And I think that if it's something that you've wanted for a really long time, prior to competing, or something that you want, for life kind of thing, then that's a really good grounds to get it. But if you are getting it just for competing, then I think that's probably the wrong reasons to do it, because competing is obviously such a short period of our lifetime for most people. But I think that, and there are top Olympians without breast augmentation, so that kind of really proves that you can make it to the top without surgery. But I think it definitely does help to kind of fill out your frame, when you've got the glutes going on and you kind of want to be balanced from top to bottom. So yeah, I think it can definitely help, but also I think that you can do a lot with bikini padding and stuffing and everything like that. So I think, yeah, if it's something that you're wanting outside of your bodybuilding kind of life, then go for it, but don't get it just for competing reasons.
Nice. I love that, babe. That's a good way to look at it, and just like a healthy perspective on it. You don't need it. But if you have gotten lean and you want to stay relatively lean, that can be something that you might be like, okay, well, maybe now for life, I want to actually fill myself up, because I want to stay relatively lean. But like for me, I'm back in my off season and they're back. So don't worry, they'll come back if you do put on a little bit of body fat. But it's just something to think about. And on that note, I know that the recovery time for these things are it's getting faster all the time. I feel like when breast augs were kind of like, maybe like even 10 years ago, it was so much longer than it is now. So just something for people that are like, I want to get one. They do want to get one maybe, but can you do it between seasons, or would you need like a whole year? Like, what do you think about that recovery time? Is it quick enough that you can kind of go season to season, or would you think it might be better to have like some time off?
I think it's something that you could definitely do in like your off season and then compete that same year. It's definitely patient and person dependent on recovery. And also the biggest thing with recovery is whether you choose to go under the muscle or over the muscle in terms of implant placement. So going under the muscle, obviously it is a lot more kind of strenuous on your body, that pec muscles being, really stretched out, and having an implant shoved underneath it. So it is a lot longer recovery. I think like for myself, I did have a little bit longer off because I didn't kind of want to ruin anything. I think it was about 8 weeks that I didn't train upper body for. And even when I started training upper body again, it was really light weights to begin with, and then kind of getting used to things before I started on the heavier weights again. But if you're going on top of the muscle, you could be back to training upper body at kind of like 4 weeks. But yeah, it just depends on the person, and obviously like go off what your surgeon is advising as well.
Yeah, definitely check in with what you're doing there. It's just kind of good to know, because I think some people think, oh, maybe I have to take a whole year off and things like that, but it's just so quick now that you likely will be able to go season to season. Especially, it obviously depends what your physique looks like too. I guess if you're quite beginner, you might need more time to build or whatever. So I guess it's person to person, but just a good idea just for people thinking about it that are really keen to do it.
Yeah, so obviously like with the breast augmentation and like doing it in the off season and then competing that same year, it would obviously depend on if you are somebody who already has enough muscle mass in the upper body, and whether you need to spend that time in your off season building, or whether you've kind of got the size there, you can chill a little bit on the upper body, and then compete that same year.
True. It depends on that, does it too, doesn't it? But something to think about. Like you want to kind of be ready and then you can do the finishing touches and then heal up, bang into it right away. Is there any other reason about under or over the muscle, or is it just pretty much a preference of choice?
For example, like myself, I had absolutely no natural breast tissue whatsoever before I got implants. So for me, if I chose to go over the muscle, there would be like a very, very thin layer of skin there. And so the implant would be very obvious and I would have like rippling and everything like that. So for me, going under the muscle kind of hides that rippling. I still have a little bit like when I'm like stage lean, which is probably like 99% of the girls with breast implants, there is a little bit of rippling just because we're so lean, there's no body fat there. But if you have like we call it a pinch test, so like a 1 to 2 centimeter pinch test, you know, when you kind of like pinch that upper boob area, if there's enough natural boob there to kind of hide the implant, you can go over the muscle. And if I could have gone over the muscle, I would have. Just because when you're placing an implant under the pec muscle and then you are like in the gym training your upper body, the implant, it does have a risk of moving laterally when you're kind of, and they can get like pushed out underneath your armpits over time because of that pec muscle being moved and kind of pushing them outwards. So if I did have a choice, I would have gone over, but for me it was just going to be very, very false and very, very obvious with a lot of rippling if I went on top of the muscle.
It makes sense. And that's probably why you see it quite a lot when women are really lean, like stage lean, and you can see the implant. That makes sense. I didn't know that. That's learned something today. It's over the muscle, likely, you know, and then you can see it a little bit more. But again, it's not a bad thing. It's just when you're that lean, right? You can just see it like right through the skin nearly.
And it depends on the type of look that you're after too, right? Some girls want that really like defined kind of look and some don't. So it's really
preference. Yeah. Go and talk to your surgeons if you want, guys, or you could even go and see someone that is at Kate's practice or whatever you call it, surgery. And that way you can maybe have Kate assisting for your job. You never know. That'd be really nice. I'd be happy to look up it afterwards and be like, oh, thank God it was Kate. Everything's going to be fine. We've got some questions from Instagram. We'll go through a couple of those if that's okay. Sure. Thanks everyone for submitting your questions. Everyone's always so curious, and I know you've done a bunch of Q&As as well on your stories and stuff. So and you might have even done some highlights and things. So go and have a look at her gram too. But there's always more questions from everyone. They always want to know. And this one's probably going forward a little far, but we're going to go with it. Have you thought about your goals post-Olympia? And if yes, what are they?
Yeah, that's a big one. I feel like been so focused on the Olympia and the fact that, you know, I've qualified and it's happening soon and I'm in prep for that. But kind of just this week when I've started journaling again, I have thought, you know, man, it would be really cool to qualify 3 times, you know, do 3 Olympias or something like that. And then the other thing that I would love to do would be the Arnold. I'd love to do, you know, get on the Arnold stage maybe next year or the year after.
That's cool, babe. Knock Laura off. Get her out of there. We love her, but she's had 3, you know, that was her goal. And that's something that people do make. They make like, I want to win 3 times or I want to qualify this many times. And that's like, once is cool, but you're going to level up, hey? But we'll get through your first goal first, which is get to Olympia, and then we'll see what you feel like doing after that. You never know. Are you going to do your own makeup for Olympia? Because you normally do your own makeup for your shows, or you have been. Are you going to do it again for the Big O?
Yeah, I am. I'm feeling quite confident with it. Like I was really happy with it on my last USA tour. So I think I'm gonna do my own. I'm gonna go a little bit darker on the eyes. And then so at the Dallas show, I did my makeup and then I went for my top coat of tan. And I didn't realize that I would be getting another base coat as well. They took one look at me and they were like, no, you're still too white. Even though you've had 5 coats, you're still too white. So we're going to do another base coat and then we're going to do a top coat as well. I had kind of matched my face thinking that I only had that one top coat to go. So my face was a little bit light. So just kind of getting that color exactly right and a little bit darker on the eyes. But I really enjoyed doing my own makeup and it was a really therapeutic way to start my day. And also I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling confident with it. It's just the winged eyeliner that I'm not so confident with. So I think I need to practice that a little bit first. But yeah, I'll be doing my own.
Love that, babe. You've been doing so well with it. Your makeup always looks great. And I'm sure you're, is it Kendall? Who do you do makeup lessons with? I'm sure she's super proud of all the effort that you put into your makeup, and she's probably stoked with the looks.
Yeah, Makeup by Kendall. I actually rang her. We had a video call for my first show, and I just had her kind of just like as moral support, I guess, because I had had a few lessons, so I was feeling good about it, but I was like, oh my gosh, it is a big deal for the first time. So I just rang her over FaceTime, and she kind of talked me through each step, and she was super proud. And at the end of it, she was like, Kate, it literally looks like I've done your face. So I was pretty happy with that compliment.
I love it. She's amazing, isn't she? And I think she's pretty much fully booked up for the season. But if anyone wants any help, I mean, you can try. But that's so cool. It's nice to know that you've done a good job too from the person that you learned from. I love that. Which bikini Olympians are you most excited to meet?
Definitely Jennifer Dory. I really, really love her. Yeah, she would be my number one.
Yeah, I love that, babe. She's gonna be, oh my God, if you get a photo with her, I'm just gonna die. I'm just actually gonna die. And if you're in the same lineup, top 5, oh my God, I can't even think about it. It has to be, I just need to calm down, everyone, because it's gonna be so good. And is this gonna be the best show? And I think it's the 60th anniversary for the Olympia too. So it's such a big year for the Olympia. It's back in Vegas. It's been in Ohio, I think. So they're moving it back. It's a big show, guys. It's going to be worth the watch. And I think it's like the week before our nationals, or the week before our nationals, something like that. It's the week before our Waikato, the week before our Waikato show.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
We just get back, and then I go away to Brisbane for a work conference, and then I come back from that, and then it's nationals that weekend, I believe.
So it's all really close. It'll keep our athletes like fired up to see you and Jazz over there as well. It's going to be so good. What were the favorite and least favorite moments of your USA tour?
Gosh, the favorite, obviously, like winning, getting that
easy.
And just being on stage, getting to experience competing overseas in the States was massive. And the gyms, just living that professional bodybuilder life, right? So just getting to fully zone into my prep and focus on, my training, my posing, my food, everything's just surrounding the competitions. Yeah. And then the least favorite, the tanning process is tedious because I'm so white, so I just need so many coats. So it was, that would definitely be my least favorite.
Yeah, and then we had a little bit of skin trouble there, eh, babe? Just trying to scrub it off and all of that, and it's just so much. But you made it look good. It looked fine in the photos.
Yeah, it was pretty bad in person for my third show, but yeah, we got the protein team onto it for my last show, and all was well.
Got it done. I mean, it looked good, so we made it work. And then last question from Instagram is, how do you get enough sleep to do everything that you do? Do you go to bed early? Do you schedule your to sleep in? How do you get it done?
I would definitely love to have more sleep than I get, that's for sure. And I think it's just like that in a prep, for everybody, we always feel like we're not getting enough rest and enough sleep, but just with the long days at work, it does mean getting up early and doing all of my training and stuff in the morning, and then often finishing work late, kind of getting home, having dinner, meal prepping for the next day, and then going straight to bed. So there's not a lot of extra time outside of the essentials, but it is what it is. And yeah, I mean, the goal and the dream gets me out of bed and keeps me going.
Love that. Just a random question, but how did you get that trophy home? I completely just forgot about it. But was everything okay? Because it was 3 trophies, and you had the crown, and was it all okay? Did it come home in one piece?
Yeah, it all got home in one piece. I thought that I was gonna break the tiaras at every flight, but I wrapped them up, so I had I just packed them in really, really well. So I got them home safe. In terms of the trophy, that thing is so big and so heavy. We took it in carry-on, just literally carried it on our flight home, and we were in, where were we? In in one of the airports, and they were like, oh, you can't take that on the flight. And I just looked at Frank and he looked at me and we were like, oh my gosh, am I going to have to leave it here? And then they kind of were asking, oh, what's the trophy for? And we were telling them, and then they were like, oh, we'll ask the pilot if we can sit it up by them. And so yeah, we were really, really happy to get it home. It was quite heavy and quite difficult to like hold it and carry it throughout all the airports, but it did get home safely.
So I love that. And where is it now? Is it sitting in your posing studio or something like that?
Yeah, it's in the posing studio. Yeah.
I love that. So cool, babe. Oh, everyone's dream to get that, you know, and to get that Olympia qualification as well. All of it. You're just doing so good. Let's jump into posing. You're a posing coach. You have an amazing posing coach yourself as well. It's part of what you live and dream is posing. How do you feel like your posing was in the States? And do you feel like it improved over each show or like anything like that? Did you feel like your posing was just perfect all around? Like how do you feel about it?
Okay, posing is one of those things, like it can always be better. So I was happy with it, but I was like, no, it still needs to be better. The thing that helped the most was like doing 4 shows, my confidence was just growing, you know, the more that I competed. And obviously we have pre-judging and finals, so getting to do my routine twice was really, really helpful. So that confidence just kind of like built up over the shows. And so by the Dallas show, I was just feeling really, really good, feeling super confident with it. So I think it went well. I was really happy with it. And I think that Renee was quite happy as well. We had a couple of lessons while I was over there on, you know, just like online lessons just to make sure that everything was on track. But overall, yeah, it went really well.
Oh, I love that. And she was so happy with you as well. And Jazz, because she's Jazz's coach as well for posing. So she's just probably over the damn moon. And it's so good that her 2 clients that are going to Olympia this year are from New Zealand. Thank you very much. I don't think there's any Aussies at the moment. There's definitely no Aussie bikini pros. I know that there's a few Aussies on the wellness circuit that look pretty fierce. There's a few, Danny Theo, a couple of girls on there, but we'll see if any of them get it there. But New Zealand's taken it for Australasia at the minute. So that's quite cool. Do you know anyone else that's competing at Olympia that maybe you speak to online or anything like that? Or is it just going to be you and Jazz?
Yeah, like I know a few of the Olympians and we've connected online, so it would be really, really cool to like meet them in person and share that experience. But yeah, at the same time, like getting to go over and do it with Jasmine, I'm really, really looking forward to that.
So cool, man. I'm so excited. The blondie's holding it down. So good. Any tips for bikini pros? Because we've got quite a few bikini pros, obviously, that might want to take on the US pro circuit. Like we all know it's a big job. Like if for Americans, it's a little easier. They only have to fly domestically, sort of thing, and like it's a little cheaper. But our Kiwis going over, as you know, you've just done it. So it's expensive. It takes time off work. Like it's a lot. But do you have any tips from now doing it? You went to Hawaii last year. You've been to your USA tour this year. Any tips for any of them that are like, I want to do it, but I just need some sort of advice on how to get there? Like, do you have any sort of tips around it?
Yeah, definitely. Like we learned a lot, especially going to the States. But just, yeah, planning is key. I think I would definitely spend more time planning next time. In terms of just like getting an Airbnb or a hotel that is close to the gym, because we didn't hire a car. And, you know, those Ubers like really, really do add up. So the place that you're going to be spending the most time at when you're over there is going to be the gym, you know, so just getting accommodation that's really, really close to the gym. That would be like the main thing. And then just like getting over there early enough so that you can like get yourself settled. I did find that going from place to place and traveling internally, I would have rather traveled say on like the Sunday or the Monday after every show, because we did leave a couple of the places on like the Wednesday, and I just felt like as soon as the show was finished, you know, I kind of just like wanted to like wake up the next day, pack my stuff, and then move on to the next destination, get settled at the new place before, you know, the next show. And I felt like, yeah, if I just booked those internal flights like the day earlier, it would have probably been better. And then just, yeah, doing your research and making sure, getting organized with knowing like where the nearest supermarket is and like all of that kind of stuff as well. Just kind of getting used to where you are and what your surroundings are so that you can be as prepared as possible.
Yeah. What was the best supermarket? Because there's so many, right? Was there anyone that was like the best for like bodybuilding food, like just to get oats and like all your basic shit? Was there any of those, or is it just kind of that they're all great?
Yeah, definitely Whole Foods. We spend a lot of money at Whole Foods, many trips to Whole Foods, just because it's got all your necessities as a bodybuilder, and they're kind of everywhere as well. So that was our number one place to shop. And they also do like cooked chicken breast, so it's like ready to go if you don't have cooking facilities or anything like that. But we did book Airbnbs for that reason, so that we would have, you know, those cooking facilities. So that's another tip, I guess, is being aware of what accommodation you're booking, and do you have a microwave? Do you have a stove? Like, do you have everything that you need?
That's important. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just want to make it as easy as possible, right? You don't want to have to be running around like finding things. Oh God, that'd be the worst thing ever. Do you feel like if you did it again, like, well, I'm sure you will do it again, but do you think you'd hire a car, or do you think it was okay just to like locate yourself close enough to everything, or would you rather have a car just to explore as well?
Yeah. Not sure. I don't personally feel confident to drive over there, but Frank might. We did hear kind of like a nightmare story from my friend from Italy who was at the Orlando show with me and the Miami show. So her and her partner hired a car in Orlando and drove to Miami, which is like a 3-hour drive. And when they got to Miami, they parked the car and then they went about their day, came back, the car was gone. It had been impounded, even in like some places where like they thought they were allowed to park. So their car, like they couldn't get it back either because they needed to get the owner to come and get it. And I don't know, it was a big, like a total shit show really. So that kind of made us a little bit nervous, and thankful that we hadn't hired a car.
Yeah, it's just a different place, isn't it? Like, and they say that about the parking, like it says that you can park, or there's no sign you have to get towed. It's like, but America's amazing. I'm so stoked that you had a good time over there and enjoyed your trip, babe. Because I think it's like a lot of people's dream. It's the bodybuilding hub, you know. And there's some great places in like Asia as well, and just like there's lots of little hubs, but the States is, I feel like that's just where it is. It's where it's at. Have any people reached out to you since you've got your Olympia qualification, like brands wise, like sponsorships, or just in general? Like, are people trying to get in touch with you and working with you now?
Yeah, yep, definitely like a couple of companies, which I'm now sponsored by, which is amazing. Angel Competition Bikinis is like the main one. So they were actually at the Mile High show in Denver. Yeah. And I had my posing suit had broken that week. When I was like doing my posing practice. So I just went up to their store and I asked them like, hey, do you have any posing bikinis for sale? Because mine's broken and I would like to buy one. And then we just got chatting and they were like, offered me a sponsorship on the spot. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this real? Because I had seen so many of their bikinis on stage and they all looked really, really, really nice. So I was really happy about that. And then I'm quite particular with like who I work with. So I'm still with Sprint Fit. They've been amazing, super, super supportive, and also helping me get to the Olympia, which I'm really, really grateful for. And then another one was a glam competition jewelry. So they do like all the stage jewelry, all the earrings and bracelets and stuff like that. So I'm really happy about that one. I'm really excited to work with them for the Olympia. Because I just used to purchase my stuff off like La Visa, you know, but Glam Competition Jewelry have some really nice stuff. So yeah, and then just my usual Swole Foods, still working with them. Actually have an order arriving today, which I'm really excited about because it's just going to take such a weight off my shoulders having to prep my meals this week. And then Adam from Silverback Crew. It's funny because everyone was like, who's that guy in your stories, you know?
Yeah.
So we met him at the first show and connected with him, and he has a brand called Silverback Crew, and it was basically like him and Frank were just like joined at the hip the whole time, and he sponsors quite a few of the shows in the States, and he also does like a clothing line as well, and he was awesome. He was super supportive. He came to 3 of my shows. He spent time with us. He drove us around. He took us out for food after the Dallas show. So yeah, really looking forward to catching up with him again at the Olympia.
I love that. Definitely cool, babe. You're definitely being noticed for sure. People are seeing you, and we're just waiting for the bombshell sponsorship. That's going to be next. So I'm like, it's coming. It's coming in hot.
It's every girl bodybuilder's dream, isn't it? Be sponsored by Bombshell.
100%. And it will happen. I can see it already. I'm like, I can just see it, her up on that, like, with Laurelie and Jen or something. I don't know, who knows, but I'm just dreaming. Tell us about the Angel Competitions bikini suits, because we know you've used a couple of different brands over the years. What do you think about these suits? Are they above the rest? Are they pretty much on par? Like, everyone's quite good. Like, tell us about do you prefer them? Do they look a lot better? I know you're sponsored by them, but just tell us a little bit openly about what you think about these suits.
Yeah, so I have loved like all of my bikinis that I've worn on stage, and my bikinis that I wore on the USA stage at my recent circuit, I absolutely loved them. And yeah, just being with Angel Competition bikinis, their bikinis are stunning, and something that I was really excited about is that they do velvet bikinis, because I saw quite a few velvet suits on stage during my time in the States, and I really, really like them. And they just the depth of color on stage looks really good. So yeah, and they kind of do like a V cut at the bottom, on the bottoms, and I just think it's quite flattering as well. So yeah, really happy suit that they made me for my guest posing, which I will take to the Olympia as a backup suit as well.
So good. I love that so much. And we've got Worthy of Victory posing suits now, and they're also done by Angel Competition Bikini. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So if anyone sees all the Worthy of Victory girls in their bikinis, Kate's got us hooked up. She's got us in with the squad. I love that, babe. And do you, just a random question that I just thought about at the end of it, I was like writing down your questions, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to ask this one, because all the girls, as you know, amateur, pro, whatever, they all have the comparison thing. Like, surely it pops in your head a little bit from time to time, especially as an amateur. I feel like once you're in, you know how it works. But do you still feel that? Like, do you look backstage at the girls and you're like, do you have any of that comparison, or do you just stay in your own lane? Or like, how do you avoid having those thoughts pop in your head,
Yeah, to be honest, no, I don't. I'm focused on myself, and I know that what I'm bringing is really good. And so I feel confident within myself and with what I'm presenting. There probably was one time when I was at the Mile High Pro and I saw Ashley's glutes. I saw her side profile and I was like, oh my gosh. Wow, that's super projected and she looks amazing. And I was like, oh, that's it for me now. Ashley's here. But in terms of like how I feel about myself, like I don't look at other bikini pros and compare, and I don't feel less because somebody else looks amazing. Yeah, I'm not sure if I have any advice on that one. I think it's just like it comes with time and confidence within yourself, and that's something that you can develop over time, I think. Yeah.
Because like the more you're going to do this and the more that you're into the sport, if you really do love it, you're going to have to let go of that at some point, because otherwise it's just going to drive you mad. So the sooner that you can just start to be like, well, I've been doing this a while, and even though I'm terrified that it's not having any result on my result, essentially, is it? It's not going to change anything. You can only bring up yourself on the day. So it's what a lot of people talk about. I hear it a lot, and if I do put up a question box, it usually comes up to talk about in these pods. So I just thought I'd ask you that, even though you're, at your level, do you still feel it? But no, and that's so good, because other people are going to be like, okay, I don't have to feel like this forever. There's a point of like happiness where I can feel good and happy for other people as well as myself. So that's cool you're there, babe. It's got to be good for the mental health too, just to feel confident and happy with where you're at. That's pretty much all I have for you today. I know I've talked to you for ages, talked your ear off, had you completely unpack everything that's happened, but is there anything that I might have missed, or anything you want to share with everybody before you head off for your last 7 weeks for Olympia prep?
Yeah, I was just going to say on the note of like comparison and stuff like that too, it's like, at pro level and everything, like everyone looks amazing. So, but it doesn't take away from you, because you also look amazing and you're bringing your best. And the other thing is, like, seeing girls backstage is very different to how they look on stage in their poses as well. So it's really like a pointless comparison. It doesn't mean anything until you are up there on the stage, up there next to each other. So yeah, try not to stress yourself about it and get in your own head.
Yeah. And prep brain can do weird things to you, can't it? Like, it can make you freak out about things.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. Thanks, babe. Thank you so much and thank you so much for your time. Honestly, I appreciate you so much. It's been so good to follow your journey on your USA tour and all round, just your whole journey. And I'm sure I'll be able to get some content of your Olympia. I'm going to buy the live stream. Everybody knows that I will. I'll be having a watch party. It's going to be so good. And then hopefully you'll be able to jump on the pod again after Olympia sometime, after it's all settled down. Would you be keen to jump back on?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Thank you, babe. I appreciate you so much for that. And everyone's probably just super excited for you. I know they are, and the whole country's backing you for this too. So we'll be following your journey. Don't forget to follow Kate on Instagram, guys. It's all in the comments. It's all in the description. It's all there ready to go. So make sure you're following for that. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube and follow our Spotify. And we'll talk to you soon, Kate. I hope your rest of your prep is amazing. It's going to be so good.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me on, and just the support that you've given me and that everybody is giving me throughout my prep and everything. Yeah, super grateful.
Oh, you're welcome, babe. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.